second graders. Thank you for joining me for another day of skills. If you don't remember, my name is Miss Catrone and I am from Citizenship Academy. I'm going to be going through Skills Unit 4 with you guys. So today we are on Skills Unit 4, Lesson 4. And I have a lot of great things that we're going to do together today. We're going to have some fun and be silly and do some wiggle cards. We're going to work on one of our sound spelling trees, and we're also going to read a story. So it's going to be a great day. Let's get started. I'm going to share my screen with you so we can jump right in. And remember, the first thing that we always do is we set goals for ourselves. This helps us know where we're going and what we want to accomplish or be able to do by the end of the lesson. So our first learning target for today says, I can read short phrases from the wiggle cards. So we're going to practice reading and doing some short phrases from our wiggle cards. All right, target number 2. I can read words with different spellings for the I sound. Lastly, I can chain words. So those are our goals for today. Let's go meet those goals. The first thing we're going to do is look at our wiggle cards, and we're going to practice reading them together and doing what they say. So the first one, I'm going to use stretchy snake. That's a strategy that I use to help my kids read. And basically, we're going to take the word and we're going to stretch it out, and we're going to look at each sound. So I know that when S and H are next to each other, they make a sh sound. I also see a magic E here. So I know that this A is going to say her name. Let's try it. Ache, shake, shake. This is a tricky word, your. Shake your. Here I know when I see B and R together, I get that burr sound, burr. A and I say A. That's the way that she says her name. Burr, burr, brain, brain. Shake your brain. All right, ready? I'm going to look silly, so I want you to look silly with me. 3, 2, 1. All right, are we all shook up? Let's keep going. All right, for this one, I see my M sound, and then I see a magic E, which we know that helps A say her name. So make a face. Make a face. You guys look silly too. All right, here we go. This one is we can chain it like this. Tap, tap your throat. Tap your throat. That feels weird. All right, here we have open your mouth. For this next one, I'm going to give you guys a second to try to read it. Flex your biceps. So a big muscle in your arm. Oh, so strong. All right, here we have one that says, untie your shoes. Untie your shoes. Miss Catrone's not wearing shoes today, but. All right. Swim in the river. Swim in the river. I'm not going to be swimming in the river just yet. All righty, good job, guys. Oh, we skipped one. This one I was waiting for. Sniff your toes. Do we have any brave friends that are going to sniff their toes? That's a super silly one. Okay, guys, great job with your wiggle cards. Today we're going to start our lesson, and we're going to review or go over some of the spellings we have already learned for our I sound. So we've learned 3 ways that we can get our I sound. Before we start that, I'm actually going to play for you the I sound from our sound library.
I.
Let's listen to that again. I'll turn my volume all the way up.
I.
I. Oopsies, that's definitely not it. Whoopsie daisies. Let's try that again. That's it. Oh, my second graders last year loved this video, or loved the song that comes next.
I. Lime.
I. Lime. I. Lime.
Let's say it together. I.
I.
Lime.
Lime.
I.
I.
Lime.
Lime.
I.
All right, now we'll do the video and we'll jump into some ways that I can spell that sound.
I've got a lime and that's easy to rhyme. It's a little like a lemon, but it's green all the time. To get to the lime, well, you just have to climb through the winding branches of the tree in its prime. I lime.
All right. Like I said, that was my second grader's favorite one that we did last year. So I hope you guys liked it this year too. All right, so we have our I sound. Now we have a couple different ways that we can spell the I sound. It's important to know that there are different ways to spell this I sound so that when we're writing, we can write it correctly. And when we're reading, we can read it correctly as well. Okay, so here I see 3 vowel cards for my I sound. Here I have I magic E, or some people say that's I consonant E. This is when E reaches around and pinches I and makes it say his name. So I'll see this in the word bite. I also see it in the word lime and time and like. All right, here I have just I all by itself. Actually, let's go back here. Do you see this power bar? Pretty in the middle. I'll see this often. Now over here I have I all by itself. This also says the I sound. I see this in the word biting, biting. Now this power bar is maybe just a little bit longer, so I'll see this one a little bit more often. Lastly, we have IE together. I see this in the word tie. So these are 3 different spellings that all have the I sound. Okay, so remember that when we see multiple syllable words with more than one syllable, the letter I is pronounced with the sound I when it comes at the end of the syllable. So here I have spider, tiger, and silent. Spider, tiger, silent. In all 3 of these words, the I says its name, I. Okay, so I also want you to remember that in multiple syllable words, in your books, they're not divided. Sometimes when we see them in our worksheets, there's a line and it helps us separate those 2 syllables. But when I'm reading, I'm not going to see that. So we have to do that in our heads. So when you're not sure where or how to divide a multi-syllable word with I into syllables, you should try pronouncing the word both ways, with the I sound and the I sound. And then you can kind of test out which one sounds better. So let's see. Here I have prison or prison. What word would that be? That one's going to have the I sound. Prison, prison. All right, let's try this one. I can either have finish or finish. What word am I looking at here? I'm going to read it both ways. Finish or finish. Yeah, the word is finish. Sometimes though, when I'm reading, I have to say it both ways to figure out which one makes sense. All right, last one here. I have limit or limit. The speed limit is 45 or the speed limit. Yeah, that one's going to be limit. Again, when I'm reading, it's going to be helpful to try out both ways to figure out which one's right. Okay, so on our I spelling tree, we have branches for I magic E, I all by itself, and IE with leaves on them. I'm going to post that in our Google Classroom so you guys can see all of that. Okay, today we're going to be focused on the I all by itself. Now, the letter I, when it's followed by a consonant, you might read this word, and if I'm using the stretchy snake strategy for reading, I might read it as mild, mild. Now, I might think that that's the right way because that's how I would spell a word like milk or mill. But anytime we see this ILD at the ending, several times with this ending ILD, the I is said, it says its name, I. So here this word is mild. This would make this word wild, wild. And this one is child, child. So when I see this ILD ending, I can remember that it says ILD, and then I change the first sound and I chain different words. Okay, there's another group of one-syllable words in which the I also says the I sound. Let's sound out these words together. Okay, so I have eind, eind. So I have eind, find, eind, kind, eind, mind. Good job. Good job chaining these words. Eind, bind. Eind, rind. That's a word maybe we don't hear often, but you know the green part of a watermelon slice? That is called the rind. Now this word is eind, wind. Please wind up your headphone cords before you put them away. Eind, blind. Eind, grind. Alrighty, so we can add all of these words to our I spelling tree. Alrighty, we're gonna do a worksheet that's gonna be in the end for your Google form, so we're just gonna skip over that part now. Okay, as you guys know, we are in a brand new reader called The Job Hunt. In The Job Hunt, we have our main characters, Kim and Kurt. Kim is home from college and she is looking for a summer job. She wants to work a part-time job, which means that she's not going to work all the time, but just part of the time. And she hasn't found one yet. Last time when we read, they were in Brooklyn and they were going to Brooklyn to find a job, but then they ran into some of Kim's friends. We know that they ran into Lynn and Cheryl. And when they ran into them, we found out that the girls were going to a place called Drummer's Cove. And Kurt really wanted to go to Drummer's Cove too. So Kim said they could go for just a little bit. So today as we read, we're going to be reading this story, Drummer's Cove. Now I asked you guys to make a prediction last time, but what do you think they're going to find here? Maybe drummers? That's what the name kind of tells me. So we already talked about this, but remember that Kim is hunting for a job and her brother Kurt is going along as she searches. Remember that Kim and Kurt live in a part of New York City called Brooklyn. So we're going to go to the table of contents in just a moment. Now, we looked at some of these words yesterday in our skills lesson, and this is where the Y gives me that I sound, like in the word system and the word Lynn. Now today we're looking at words where the letter I says its name, says an I sound, like in the word kind, mind, find, and wild. As we're reading together today, I want you to be on the lookout for these words. Okay, we're going to look at some vocabulary today. Remember, vocabulary are just new words that we're learning. Do you guys know that the more you read, the bigger your vocabulary gets, the more words that you know and you can use when you're talking with your friends and family and other people. So the first one we have is drummer. Drummer is a musician who plays the drums. Here we have a picture of a drummer. Next, I have my steel drum. Here I have a steel drum. This is what it looks like. So this might be in our story. And lastly, we have our bongo drums, all in our story today. Alrighty, that's gonna help us when we're reading. All right, So without further ado, I'm just going to get our story ready. Alrighty, let's jump back in and we're going to read together now. Sorry guys, I have a lot of screens going at one time. Makes it tricky. I think we got it. Okay, so remember the first thing we were going to do is look at the table of contents. Now you're going to find table of contents in the front of most books. Now this is a very helpful tool in books because it helps you find what pages your book is on, or your story is on, whatever chapter you want to go to. We'll find this a lot in chapter books. So today I'm reading a story called Drummer's Cove, and if I follow that line all the way over, I see it's on page 22. Now normally, if I'm holding the book, I'm going to flip to page 22, but because I'm reading the book from my computer, I'm going to slide down to page 22. Here we go, Drummer's Cove. Now, as I am reading, guys, I want you to, one, be looking out for those I words that we've been practicing, and two, I want you to use your pointer finger and you can follow along as I read. Now, it might be really helpful for you to read along out loud with me. Let's get started together. Excuse me, Drummer's Cove. Brooklyn was home to all kinds of sounds. Whoop, there's that word kind that we've been looking at where I says its name. Kim and Kurt were used to lots of them. There were sounds of traffic. Cars and trucks and buses went zipping by all the time, honking their horns and playing loud music onto their sound systems. Ooh, here we have that word system, where the Y gives me an I sound in systems. All right, let's keep going. There were also the sounds of voices, people shouting and chatting and singing. There were dogs barking and even the sounds of tools that people used as part of their jobs, like a jackhammer digging a hole in the street. This day, Kim and Kurt were soaking up the sounds in Drummer's Cove with Kim's pals, Lynn and Cheryl. Drummer's Cove is a place in Prospect Park where people gather to play drums. Some of them play steel drums. Some play bongo drums. Some of them hit the drums with sticks. Some of them slap the drums with their bare hands. All right, so we just learned 2 ways to play drums. Some hit them with sticks. Some hit them with their bare hands. Let's keep going. Kurt liked the sounds in Drummer's Cove. He jumped up and down and did a dance. Kim, Lynn, and Cheryl all smiled. Is the drumming a job? Kurt asked Kim. Well, I want to pause there and point something out to you. Do you guys remember that when I see these quotation marks, it means that that is something that somebody is actually saying. So Kurt is actually asking Kim, is drumming a job? Now I see them again here. So this is where Kim is answering. It is for some people, Kim said, but here I think they drum just for fun. Now when the quotation marks end, that's where that person is done talking and we go back to the story. But here Kurt starts again. I can see why, Kurt said. It looks like a lot of fun. Would you like to take a shot at it? Lynn asked. Do you think they would let me play? Asked Kurt. You wouldn't know unless you ask, said Kim. All they can say is no. Kurt jumped at the chance. He went up to a drummer, pointed at his drum and said, would you mind if I took a turn to play? The drummer was kind and let Kurt have a chance. All right, here's that word kind again. Like we're trying to find all the I words that the letter I says its name, I. Kurt pounded on the drum and tapped his foot like he was going wild. There's another one with that I sound. He did his best to keep up with the rest of the drummers. He liked drumming. He got the hang of it fast, but soon he felt pain in his hands from pounding so much. All right, so here if I look at my picture clue, I see Kurt asking the drummer if he can have a turn, and the drummer said, yeah, he could have a chance. Thanks, Kurt told the man as he gave him back the drum, but you had better take the drum back. It's hard on my hands. If you do it a lot, your hands will get used to it, the drummer told him. Kurt went back to where Kim, Lynn, and Cheryl were standing. You are a good drummer, Lynn told him. Tell Kim to get you a drum as a gift after she gets a job, said Cheryl. That would be really kind of Kim, huh? If we don't get going soon, I'll never find a job, said Kim. Let's go, Kurt. Good luck with your job hunt, Lynn said. See you later, Kim said. She waved to Lynn and Cheryl. Kurt waved to the drummers. All right, so here in our picture clue, we see Kim dragging Kurt away so she can go look for a job. Here are her friends Lynn and Cheryl waving at Kim, and Kurt is waving at the drummers. Ooh, and that is the end of our story for today. All right, so we saw in Drummer's Cove that Kurt got to play the drums. He got to bang on them, and he said, oh, that kind of hurts my hands. But the drummer told him that the more he practiced, the better he'd get at it. All right, I'm just gonna quickly jump back here. All righty. That was a great story. I think it's so fun when we try something new. And I think that Kim's friend gave him good advice. If you don't ask, you'll never know. All right, guys. Remember at the end of this video, you have your Google form to fill out. And I also want you to be practicing your spelling words because we're going to have a test the next time we meet. Okay, so be practicing those spelling words. All right, let's check back in for our learning targets to see how we did today. I'm going to get my pen ready in case we get to check anything off. All right. I can read short phrases from the Wiggle cards. Did we do that? Check. Yes, we did. I can read words with different spellings for the I sound. Did we do that? Yep, we read words like time, biting, tie. We read words like wild and kind. We read all those. Great job. All right, I'll give us a couple check marks for that. Lastly, I can chain words. Yeah, we did that too. Remember how we took the word mild and changed it to wild and child? That was us chaining. So yep, we get check marks for that too. Alrighty, you guys did a fabulous job. Don't forget to do your Google form and don't forget to practice your spelling words. I will see you next time. Great job, second graders. Goodbye.